What's up YouTube? My name is Mark and this is the mobile game I am working on called touchSURFING. Today I am sharing a devlog where I work on the art and overall visual aspect of the game. This game began as a school project that ran on Windows, and then after school was done, I would later remake the game for mobile using all of my own art assets, as you can see here, if you can even call them art assets. I'm a programmer, not much of a digital artist, so I've mostly just been using colors and shapes so far, and really just putting off the art and visual aspect of the game until now. But I have known kind of the direction I wanted to head with the art. I've known I wanted to use this dynamic color system where the trail of the player changes based on the grappling target that the player grapples to. I've known I kind of wanted to use some sort of space background, and I've also known that the focal point of the visuals was going to be the movement of the player that is represented by the trail. I began by making some small adjustments to the player body itself. I made the white rim or ring around the player a lot thinner, and then I added a couple simple particle effects inside of the player body to kind of give a little glowing orb effect to it. And then I went about adding a trail renderer. Up to this point, my trail has been made up of just particle systems, but I added this little trail renderer, which is the white coloration that you can see coming out just behind the player, but it doesn't extend for the entire trail. And I tried a few different versions of this. It didn't look too bad, but in the end, it just felt a little too flat for me. So I got rid of it and went back to just adjusting my particle systems. There's so much tweaking you can do. I have this ribbon particle system you can see there, and then I have these stars that kind of come out, or these just little particles that come out. I'm kind of going for a shooting star effect. So instead of the trail renderer, I then added a new particle system that's more of this smoky particle system, and I was really happy with that. And I was also able to get it to run pretty efficiently, and got it to run on mobile devices without cutting into my frames. So I tweaked with that for a bit, and then I got to work on a new background. I spent a bunch of time in Photoshop making different starry backgrounds, making different brushes, trying to get the right spread of stars, trying to get the right size of stars, the right variation of stars, the right density of stars. It took me days and days, and it was incredibly tedious. I then went about creating another parallax scroller script. So I already have a background scroller script that controls the farthest back layer of stars, but then I wrote a new one so that I could have this dynamic color gas cloud, nebula cloud layer that is closer to the player than the farthest back stars. And I was really excited about this because it allows me to change this cloud layer to a color that fits the color scheme of different levels. And so it's really nice because I can really change the feel of levels now by having this background color. And I've had a lot of success, or I've really liked how it looks when I'm using these really kind of subtle, kind of dark tone colors in the background that go along with my levels. Here's a level that I really like the color scheme on this level, the orange and purple, and so I tested out the new background here and was really happy with how it was looking, especially with my new particle systems. I next created some new art assets, and as you can see, I'm quite the skilled Adobe Illustrator user. I really kind of cringe at myself doing any art, but I finally made some assets that have a little bit more texture to them, and it's a big step up for me, but I know it's still incredibly basic stuff. But I was pretty happy with how it looked. But good chance that these assets will be updated at the very least. I had to do some housekeeping, making some scripts that would make it easier to adjust sprites so that they would match the size of the designs. Just basically, these are scaling scripts, and they also changed the colliders of sprites when I changed the size of them. I then added some particle effects to the grapple targets to give them a little bit more life, and adjusted the particle burst that happens when the player grapples to a target, and I'm really happy with how that looks. It wasn't too hard, and things feel a little bit more alive now, and I also was able to get it to work without cutting into frames per second on the cheap smartphone that I used to beta test. So really happy with that. Not too much work, but I think it looks a lot better now. I then created another background or parallax scroller script sort of thing. But in this one, I have these 9 squares that generate a bunch of stars that are each individual sprites. These stars are not from a Photoshop image or anything. Every one of the dots is a sprite that is randomly placed in those squares. And then the parallax scroll is, you can see the red, green, and blue square just came to the bottom, and now the pink, blue, and yellow square came to the bottom. So the player is always going to see these squares, or see these stars, but they will be repeated as parallax scrollers go. I then added a shooting star script so that the shooting stars will be randomly generated, and they will have random directions, and they'll shoot in the background. And the hardest part about this script is writing the vector math so that the shooting stars look like they're not really close, and it doesn't matter how quickly the player is moving. The shooting stars are gonna look like they're going the same speed, and that's needed to give them basically the effect that they are far in the background. I next quickly added the option to make everything random, the colors random if I wanted to on a level. So on this level, I have all of these stars and then the gas clouds generating a random color. Here you can see the before and now the after of a level. This kind of level where you have all these grapple targets and you just play around are called party waves. And then again, here's before and after of some levels. Here is a more standard, typical level. The first couple levels you saw, one was just kind of a screw around level, the other was like a trainer level, and here's the before and after of this level. I think it looks so much better. I think the depth that the background gives, now that it feels, it feels more three-dimensional, even though everything is pretty flat. I've spent years working on the mechanics of this game at this point, and to spend some time on making the game look better, I'm surprised that for me it looks better than I thought it would after my first art overhaul, as I'm calling it. But it's also to be expected because I've just spent so little time on the visual aspect of the game. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. I'm kind of testing the waters with this devlog thing, trying to figure out if this is something that people enjoy and whether or not I should continue doing them. So if you want to see more, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, if you have any questions about anything I did or just want to talk about game dev, you can join the Discord, and I've posted a link to that in the description. I've also have Patreon links, so if you want to support the channel or support the development of the game, then you can check those out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.